Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5. And today, we're doing a top 5 on the top 5 most overrated Loomians in Loomian Legacy. And most of these Loomians are not overrated. This was a very hard list to make. So like the first few on this list are not that overrated, but the rest of them are extremely overrated, and let's talk about it. So, on number 5 into the list is actually going to be Vanillin. And I know this is kind of a shocker because Vanillin is one of the best Varis in the game. I mean, I ranked it number 3 on my top Varis list, so it obviously is pretty good. And like I said before, this being number 5 doesn't make it that much overrated. It is a little bit, though, because it doesn't have the best melee defense, meaning that it does actually take some solid chunk on the melee side. Any melee attacker can come in and kind of chip Vanillin's health. But I honestly don't even think Vanillin's that overrated. It's on the list because if I needed to pick one, I would have to pick Vanillin. Because I do think it is a little bit overhyped. I mean, now with the rise of Gas Stroke, with Stratagem, and also Terror Claw still doing very well, there are other range tanks out there you can use. But a lot of people are just like, meh, Vanillin's the only good range tank in the game. When nowadays, honestly, Terror Claw's still pretty good, Gas Stroke's really good, and there's a couple others as well. Like, you can use Odasho, Bezeldu. So, yeah, there are a couple other range tanks to use. And while Vanillin might be the best one, it doesn't outclass all of them. And that's why it's on the list. And it does have some stuff going for it, though. Like, it can get rid of Poison Barbs. It also can barter Shackles. But, like, this spot is basically, if I needed to pick something at number 5, it would probably have to be Vanillin, because I can't really think of any other Loomians which are overrated. So, this is basically just, if I had to pick one, this is the one I would pick. But, yeah, Vanillin at number 5. It makes a lot of sense, but, yeah, don't take this away how good Vanillin is, though. Vanillin is still an amazing Loomian. It's just, I do think it is a little bit overhyped compared to some of the other Loomians in the game. So, yeah. Let's head into number 4. And in number 4 onto the list is kind of another shocker. It's actually going to be a realm, because it's going to be Nevermind. And just like with Vanillin, I do think Nevermind is very good. Heck, I even think it's one of the best spirit types and late game cleaners in the game. But with 113 melee attack, it's super deceiving. I'm always deceived when I use this thing. It has very high melee attack, and has a good chance of critting, but it always feels like the damage is a lot lower than you expect it to be. I mean, a critical hit did not one-shot the Cephalops, although to be fair, it was a Cephalops. It is tanky. But there are a bunch of other things in the game, like a +1 crit with Phantom Slash. It doesn't even do that much to a tank Mutagon. It gets it down to the yellow, and that's it. That's a tank Mutagon with a +1 crit, when Vesperatu, at nothing, at +0, does more. So that's the reason why Nevermind is on the list. It seems to always deceive me. It doesn't always do enough damage, and you basically need the crit in order to do enough damage. Not to say that Nevermind is bad, but it just always deceives me. I mean, its defensive typing's amazing. The fact that it can critical hit is awesome. Ancient coverage is awesome. But I feel like there are a couple other spirit types that can hit a lot harder, like Ursul and Vesperatu. So that's why Nevermind is number 4. It's still a very good Loomian, though. Just like with Vanillin, if I needed to put Nevermind on the list, this is where I would put him. So yeah, let's head into actually overrated Loomians now. Into number 3 onto this list, we're actually starting to get to some overrated Loomians now, because we have Avtuss. And if you look at Avtuss's stats on paper, it looks amazing. It has good attack, it's 113 speed, it has driving force hit ice types, it can heal, fast speed, good melee attack, and this looks like an amazing Loomian on paper. But remember, on paper, there's a lot of things in the meta that counters Avtuss, and even though it has Thunder Crash and Driving Force, it's really hard to decide what move to run. And you're basically reliant on the perch because you're always recoiling yourself. And let's just look at some Loomians that can just flat out beat it. I mean, any ice type can just beat you. Tundralin, even Ventation can beat you, even though you have Thunder Crash. And basically any melee tank in the game beats you. Heck, I think even Vanillin can barter Heavy Shackles on you. So it isn't as good as it is meant out to be. It is still a solid Loomian, but I don't think it's that good. Even with Brawn Boost, it's so tough to use because it's so frail, and it always recoils itself to death. It's kind of like Luxor and Umbrat, but they don't give Avtuss the blame when with Luxor and Umbrat they do. So I think Avtuss is definitely overrated, and definitely deserves to be number 3 onto the list. Like, it's very unfortunate, but I think Avtuss is the perfect definition of an overrated Loomian. So yeah, let's head right into number 2. So with number 2 onto the list, it's actually going to be probably the worst roam in the game. It's going to be Ikazune, and a lot of people are starting to realize that Ikazune is not as good compared to other roams, but there's still some people that think Ikazune is really good, and I can see it a little bit. 139 range attack is very strong, but there's a couple of big flaws. 74 speed. 74 speed makes it really, really rough to use. So yeah, it's very tough to use. You're kind of forced to use a Baffle user. Another thing is, since you're Water-Earth, even though you only have 2 weaknesses, those 2 weaknesses are Water and Earth. 2 very common offensive typings. I mean, Earth has the most coverage moves. Like, there's so many Loomians with Earth coverage, and there's so many water types in the game. There's so much that can counter Ikazune. There's even some Loomians that just flat out wall you. Vanillin, Cinemars, Terraclaw. There are just some Loomians that can just flat out wall you. And even taking neutral hits, you could get one-shotted while taking a neutral hit. So, yeah, Ikazune isn't really that good. Heck, I don't even think it's even that good as a roam. It's definitely extremely overrated. It's solid, it can do the job, but it definitely doesn't deserve roam status, and it definitely is extremely overrated. I just wish it had more health. I just wish it had more bulk. Because it attacks very hard, but even then, you don't have an ability to increase your attack, and it gets outclassed by Valkyrie. Valkyrie is better in every situation compared to Ikazune, so there's really no reason to use Ikazune when you could just use Valkyrie, which does everything better. Plus, Valkyrie has Rejuvenate, which gives it a massive plus. So yeah, Ikazune being number 2 is definitely well-deserved. It kind of sucks, but hey, it's how this goes. So, number 1 and the most overrated Loomian in the game is the Ludrix. A lot of people rank the Ludrix really high because of its ultra coverage. It has 4 different coverage moves, and it can even run Clay Slap for the melee version, so it has amazing coverage. But it has 94 speed, it's frail as heck, and 122 range attack is a lot, but there are other range attackers that are harder and are also faster. And as a status as a revenge killer, let's just rank other revenge killers which are better real quickly. Buzzlin, more speed, and has the burn effect which hits harder, plus I think it has more coverage overall. Zulong, faster, hits harder. Pertagon, faster, hits harder. Hunder, faster, hits harder, and can flinch. Garlash, it can so much coverage and hits very hard. Vocaloa, set up Brawn Boost and have better coverage. Arpygo has Thunder Strike and actually has Rejuvenate. Banfino, same way, Rejuvenate, and hits solidly hard. Snagoop, basically Snagoop, it's just amazing. And Revenine has Vengeance, which is an ability that makes it hit harder as a revenge killer. Those are all of the revenge killers that can actually outclass this thing. And even if you call this as a wall breaker, you could just use Valkyrie. You could just use Cosmere King. You could just use Cosmere Cracked. I think it's Cosmere Cracked. You could also use other range attackers like Cinemoth. Cinemoth has Magnify and is pretty good with it. There's just a lot better range attackers in the game. And yes, you could also run specialty boots with this, which does make it outspeed everything in the game. But there's no reason to run specialty boots on it when you can just use it on Wrestling and Carolyn and have a lot more results out of it. So yeah, the Ludrix is definitely the most overrated Loomian. It's probably the worst revenge killer in the game. It has amazing coverage and can be used well, but it's definitely rated too high. It's been shoved up a lot of people's list for kind of out of nowhere, even though its range attack isn't as strong as others. Its offensive typing is good. It can hit so many stuff now, but there's still so many things that can counter it. And that's why the Ludrix is the most overrated Loomian in Loomian Legacy. So here it is, the Ludrix at number 1. And this is going to be a very interesting list. I'm not sure how this will do because a lot of people really like the Ludrix, so I'm going to see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know y'all opinions will be different, and y'all definitely have different opinions, and also different top 5s. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video on the top 5 most overrated Loomians, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!